Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Nazir Nun Gimel. We are holding 9 lines from the top of the Amud. In the Mishnah we have learned that although when a person will touch even a lighter form, a more basic form of a tumas mace, it will in fact make him tamei, and suppose he's a Nazir, he'll have to stop, he'll have to count 7 days and resume his Nazirus. But in certain cases where we're speaking about more severe levels of tumas mace, something which relates to the actual mace, something which represents the mace, a kazais, basar, etc., etc. All those cases in the Mishnah will have very severe ramifications in terms of the Nazir. He'll have to stop, cancel everything that he did until that point, make that tiglachas, right? Nazir's mgaleach, bring karbanis, and restart his Nazirus. 2 of those items were chatzi kav atzamis, half a kav, half of this amount of atzamis, bones from a mace, and a half a lug of blood, of dam. Now, there's a Mishnah in Maseches Olos listing all these items which are mitame a person through tumas oyel. Not many things are mitame with oyel. So if you find yourself in the same room as a quarter a kav of atzamis or a quarter of a lug of dam, it's mitame you. It's mitame b'oyel. However, in our Mishnah, in Nazir, we learn that's not enough to facilitate, to trigger tiglachas by this Nazir. All these halachas are halachas l'Moshe Sinai, and a more severe form of tumah is required to trigger tiglachas. How much? A half a kav of atzamis, a half a lug of dam. Amar B'Lazar, Zakenim Rishonim. So B'Lazar tells us that the earlier Chachamim had a 3-way machlekes. Miktsas and some of them would say, Chatzi kavat samis. All you need is you need a large amount of bones, a half a kav, and a chatzi lugdam, l'koil for everything. It's only going to affect you if there's a large amount. Regarding everything, regarding invalidating you from eating truma, kachim, regarding canceling nazirus, disrupting your carbon pesach, the shear is a half a kav. A half a lug. However, if it's just a quarter a kav of bones, a quarter lug of dam, nothing doing. It won't affect you at all. That's one opinion. So a half a kav, a half a lug, that's the share for everything. Others disagreed. You don't need a half a kav, a half a lug. Even a quarter is enough for everything. Af reva atzamis. Or Revi's dam, l'koil, it'll affect you for everything. Then we have a third shita, which sort of struck a compromise, which is the shita represented in our Mishnah. When it comes to tumas oyel, typically it's matami even with a quarter, but Nazir needs a half. Bezdin shelachreim amru, the more recent Bezdin, decided chatzi kavat samis, v'chatzi lugdam l'koil, that affects you for everything, including Nazir, including disrupting your carbon pesach. Well, that smaller measure can affect you for other things. L'trum or l'kachim. Avaloi l'nazir, but it's not going to cancel his nazirus. Voice of Pesach, if you're on the way to bring a carbon pesach, don't be discouraged by this tumah. And that's how we paskin. That's the shita brought down in our Mishnah. In Nazir, we have a Mishnah. Tiglachas is only triggered through a half a kav, a half a lug, and in Maseches Olos we learn that even a quarter is mitamiyu. It's a compromising shita. It's a shita which compromises. Sort of middle of the road shita. Asks the Gemara, that's not really a compromise. Michti. Ein achros shlishis machras. A third opinion is never considered a compromise. You know, like you have a shita which says A. A in all circumstances. A shita which disagrees. B in all circumstances. No differentiations. Comes shita C and says, you know what? In some cases A, in some cases B. That's not a compromise. That's disagreeing with both A and B. So why do we paskin like this third shita? Rabbi Yaakov Idi, because it was accepted from the previous generations. Mipi Shmua Amru. They heard it. Mipi Chagai Zechariah Malachi. It was something brought down from the Nevi'im. This was the halacha accepted and brought down by the Nevi'im all the way back from Halacha Moshe Sinai. And that's how we paskin. So the bottom line is, a quarter kava atzomes, a quarter lug of dam is metame a person for everything, except when it comes to Nazir and Osei Pesach. For that you need a half a lug and a half a kav. Al elu hanazir megalech. So the Mishnah starts with a sort of an opening statement. The following encounters with Tumah will be megalech the Nazir. And the Mishnah ends with a sort of a summary. On these cases, on these Tumahs, the Nazir is megalech. Now, why does the Mishnah have to introduce us and conclude it? Just give us a list. Al elu dereshel mutimai. What's it coming to exclude? These work and others don't. Etzem kesaira. It's coming to exclude a small bone chip the size of a grain of barley. And that doesn't have the same ramification as the other Tumah encounters mentioned in the Mishnah. Why? Because when it comes to an etzem kesaira, dal magoy, val masoi in. Yeah, touching and carrying has the same result. But it's not matami be'oil, va'alahiloi, as opposed to the others mentioned in the Mishnah, which have tumas oil as well. Next question. Va'alelu de seifa. The last concluding statement of the Mishnah. These will have the effect on the Nazir, but others not. What others are we speaking about? Lemute evan ha-schuchis. Schuchis is the lashon of seichech, like schach, covering. So you have a stone wall and some stones sticking out, and there's tumah there underneath, but the stone isn't a shear of a tefach of an oil. That's matame midrabanan, as we're going to see further on in the Masechta. But if a Nazir encounters this tumah, he's not megalech. V'chatzi kavat somes. The Mishnah speaks about a half a kavat somes, on which the Nazir is megalech. Let's make a diuk. Chatzi kavat somes in, only a half. Reivat somes lay, but a quarter not. Are these bones intact? Hey chidami, what's the case? If we have chips the size of a sa'ira in there, well, of course it's matame. Typically mishum etzem kesar. Then forget about the fact that it's not a chatzi kav. It's etzem kesar. It's matame, at least b'maga mamasa. Says the Gemara, the akmach ikmuchi kamach lashon of flour. It was powdered. It was crushed up into small granules, smaller in size than an etzem kesar. In which case, it's not matame on account of that. It only matame on account of its quantity. That only happens when it's a chatzi kav. The Mishnah continues, a limb from a dead person, a limb from a live person, which feature enough flesh which can theoretically regenerate and rejuvenate this limb if it were attached to the person. Then it's metame b'maga, b'masa, and b'oil. What about ein alein basa karoi? If it doesn't have that required flesh, what happens now? Rabbi Yehuda Amar, forget about it. Ein hanazir megalech alein. There's no giluach. It's not metame. Rish Lakish Amar, hanazir megalech alein. It is metame, at least b'maga or b'masa, although not b'oil. What's this machlekes based on? Again, we have an aver which has very little basar, not enough to rejuvenate the aver. Rabbi Shlagish says, okay, it's not matame b'oil, but b'maga b'masa it is. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees. Explains the Gemara where they got their opinions from. Rabbi Yehuda, you know why there's no giluach? There's no ramification here. Doktani b'reisha. Look at the Mishnah. Al aver min ha'meis v'al aver min ha'chai sheyesh alein basa karoi. Clearly, it's a precondition. Otherwise not. Reb Shimon Lakish Amar, still, it has that same effect. You know why? Because there's another Mishnah later on, giving us a list of situations which don't trigger giluach. We have many cases mentioned, not this one. It should have mentioned it there, if in fact it is not going to be megalech. Apparently, the fact that the Mishnah omitted this case of the aver without the proper amount of basar from that list of non-giluach items, apparently it is going to be megalech if there is a maga or masa encounter with this item. Rabbi Yehuda Amalach, well, Rabbi Yehuda responds by saying, look, the omission, that's not a raya. Whenever you can just figure it out on your own from the general list, from the first Mishnah, anything not in the first Mishnah doesn't count. You can just figure that out on your own. Like Tani B'Sev, there's no need for the next Mishnah to mention the negative. Take a look at the first Mishnah. These items create giluach, right? Aver that has Basar Karoi. Apparently, if there's no Basar Karoi, skip it. There's no need for us to mention it again in the Seifa as something which does not make Giluach. Well, it's been deduced from the Reish. More or less several kashas on Rabbi Yechanan's response. We do seem to find, yes, the next Mishnah does mention things which seem to be redundant. So why didn't it mention this as well, if in fact it belongs on that list? Take it, for example, a half a kavat samis. The mashma, the first Mishnah mentions a half a kav, which sounds like it needs to be a half a kav. Otherwise, it doesn't work. Chatzi kavat samis en. Yeah, that triggers giluach. Roivat samis le, but not a quarter. So that's it. Case closed. A quarter doesn't work. And guess what? The next Mishnah mentions it. Uktani b'sefer roivat samis. And there you go. Mishnah says, well, you should know a quarter doesn't work. Why that redundancy? There is a chiddush, says the Gemara. Because, keep in mind, Chatzi kavat samis is matame b'magid b'masa and b'oil. But you should know a quarter kav, it's not matame b'oil, it loses that privilege, but it's still matame b'magid b'masa, and that's why the second mission saw a need to mention it, to teach us that part. Ha'asamilav roivat samis, if the Mishnah would not mention a quarter of a kav, Havamina, perhaps I would say, well, it's totally free of any tumah. Afila al magov al masoi, Lord, even with touching and carrying, wouldn't have the megaleach effect. Lachi istrach lemisni roiva atzamis. That's why the second Mishnah needs to mention that on the list to teach us. Okay, it's not included in the first Mishnah because it doesn't have tumas oil. Da'ala hilan hu dein nazir megaleach. The nazir is not megaleach on account of encountering the roiva atzamis through oil. But you should know, says the next Mishnah, through maga amasa, it will be megalech the nazir. So it's important for us to mention it in the next Mishnah. It's not a redundancy. Well, we have another example which seems to be a redundancy. V'hochatzi lug dam, half a lug of dam. The shamas mino, the fact that the first Mishnah says it needs to be half a lug. What do you hear from there? What can you deduce from there? Chatzi lug dam in, only half a lug will have that effect. Revi is dam loy, but not a quarter. So it's pretty clear and obvious a quarter does not have the megaleach effect at all. Uktani b'sefer revi is dam. So why does the next Mishnah have to repeat? You should know revi does not have the megaleach effect. And here we can't say like before, well, it's going to be megaleach on account of maga and masa, although not oil, because revi dam is not megaleach at all, even with maga and masa. So why the redundancy? This is the kasha on Rabbi Yechon. Rabbi Yechon says, no redundancies. Here we find a seeming redundancy. Answer is, there is a chiddush. There is a need for that repetition. Hasam lafukim de Rakiva. The reason why Mishnah number 2 mentioned that Revi'as dam will not be megalech, it's coming to challenge Rabbi Akiva, who disagrees. Dam Rabbi Akiva, Revi'as dam, abba mishnei mesim, matam boil, even Revi'as dam, a small measure of dam, even coming from a combination of 2 mesim, it's matam boil, and the Nazir will be megalech. So that's why the Tanakama has to mention. You should know Revi'as dam is not megalech, as opposed to Rakiva who disagrees. So bottom line is, let's go back to the discussion at hand. Mishnah number 1 speaks about things which are megalech. One of them are Ever Mena Meis, or Ever Mena Chai, that have Basar Karoi. What if there is no Basar Karoi? Rabbi Yechon says, forget it, it's not megalech. It's not even Matame. Rish Lakish disagrees. Although it's not Matame ba'oil, unless it has Basar Karoi. But even in this case, it's Matame b'maga or b'masa. Asks the Gemara, what are the qualities of this Aver? What does it feature? Hi Aver min ha-meis hechidami. Either is be'etzem k'soira. If the bone inside of it is the size of a soira, well then it's Matame either way. Forget about the Aver factor. It's an etzem. My time with Rabbi Yechon. How do you understand Rabbi Yechon? Of course it's Matame. It's an etzem. It's Matame by its own right. If it doesn't have that size, a bone chip of that size, my time with the Rish Lakish, so why does Rish Lakish say Tameh? If it's not a proper Aver, why is it Matame? Rish Lakish responds, you know, it's not a properly sized bone. Even so, Rachmana Rabbi, we find a pasuk which adds this to the list, a sanya. The pasuk describes things which are Matame ba'oil. Now we'll move over to tumas maga. Each word has meaning. Al pnei asada means zehamayil al pnei hameis. If a person hovers over a mace, he contracts, he gets the tumah. B'chalal. What is that? Ze'eva min achai. Even a limb from a live person, that's called a chalal, and is metame. Ba'yel. Provided, v'yeshli lahalas arucha. It has enough flesh on it that can rejuvenate that aver if it were attached to the person. The word cheref teaches us that the sword used to kill the person is considered as tummy as the chalal, as the corpse. Typically, when something touches a mace, it gets tumah, but at a lower level. It sort of drops down. It gets downgraded. But not a piece of metal that rises to the level of its source, tumah. Okay, the word over mace is teaching us ze'ever hanechal min a mace. Even a limb removed from a mace is metame, just like a mace. The words oibe etzim, adam, is teaching the halach of bones. Ze'revat somes. Oibe kever is teaching you ze kever sosum. A closed grave is metame. Even if a person is not actually over the corpse, he's over the side of the kever, it's also matame. Damar mar, as we learned, tumah. If you have a tumah which is sort of trapped without an airspace above it, without a tefach of airspace, punches through, goes up and goes down, and matame everything in its way. Okay, so we learned that tumah has the koyach to do that, and the kaver, even though it's not actually the mace, it's the whole kaver, that also will sort of send tumah in all directions, up and down. So that's the discussion regarding tumas oil. Let's move on to another brisa discussing tumas maga and tumas masa. Vilu gabe nigia, and regarding tumas maga, Omar Rabbi Yehuda, read the broader brisa Tanya. We'll focus on a pasuk discussing tumas maga. Anyone touching an etzem and a chalal, what do we learn from here? Be'etzem the etzem k'sa'ira. Even a teeny bone chip, size of a sa'ira, is metame b'maga. Oy b'chalal, what's that? B'chalal is teaching you ze'ever hanechlal min achai, ve'ein v'ikadal lahales harucha. An aver removed from a living person, which does not feature enough flesh to rejuvenate the bone, the aver. Oy b'meis, the words oy b'meis is teaching you ze'ever nechel min ha-meis. Ve'ein bo lahalas harucha, an aver removed from a mace, which again does not feature sufficient amount of flesh to allow it to rejuvenate theoretically if it was attached to the person. The words oy b'kever is for Amr Shlakish, the kever shlefnei adibur. Interesting chiddush, even a grave featuring a mace who passed away before. The Torah told us about the parsha of Tumah before Parshas Chukas. We need a chiddush that even that is metame. Perhaps only something which happened after the Torah told us about the Tumas mace. We'll have Tumas mace. No, we have a special pasuk. It goes back in time. Let's analyze this brisa. Hay aver min ha-meis hechidami. So the pasuk and the brisa explain. Even aver min ha-meis which doesn't have sufficient amount of basar is metame b'maga. Now, what's going on in this aver? Hay aver min ha-meis hechidami. What's going on in terms of its bone properties? Either is be'etzem kesar, if it's a large enough bone. Hayno negeh be'etzem. That's the first example. Negeh be'etzem. Why repetition? El the less be'etzem kesar, it doesn't have the right size bone. Still, what does the pasuk tell you? It's metame. Afilo achi arachman Rabbi. Torah is including this case. It's metame as well. That's where Shlakish is right. Sure, there are many levels. If it's a proper aver with basar karoi, it's metame b'maga, masa, and boil. But without basar karoi, we have a pasuk, a brisa of metame b'maga. Rabbi Yehuda who disagreed, he'll respond as follows. You know what? When we speak about the thing being metame b'maga, it's because it has that properly sized bone within it. Question was, well, of course it's metame. On account of its bone, why the redundancy? If there's no need for the pasuk to teach us that it's metame b'maga, it's metame anyways because of the bone. Tneu inyan lema'asoi. Apply it to tumas masa. That's a general formula we do many times when the pasuk is not needed for A, we sort of shift it to B. And that's what the pasuk is teaching you. Add some kesa'ira. Is metame. Not just b'maga, but even b'masa. So how do we know that from the pasuk? See, we have two parts to the pasuk. And again, be'etzem is telling you the simple tumas maga. The pasuk adds the words oibemeis to tell you that an etzem kesa'ira is metame b'masa as well. But when it comes to an aver, which does not have a sufficient amount of bone, and not a sufficient amount of basar, perhaps that's not metame at all. Not b'maga, not b'masa, certainly not b'tumas oil. So in summation, we learned about the three-way machlekes regarding the chatzi kav matzames and chatzi lugdam. Our conclusion is, based on the version handed down from Chagai Zechariah Malachi, so generally speaking, even a quarter kav of bones, a quarter lug of dam is metame b'maga masa mo'el, but when it comes to the Nazir requiring a redo, that's only if it's a chatzi kav atzames and a chatzi lug dam. We had a question regarding an Avam and a Chayu, Avam and a Mace. So if it has Basa Karoy, it's Metami all the way. Otherwise, Rabbi Yehuda says totally. Toy, Rish Lakish says, true, it's not Metami Ba'il, but it's going to be Metami B'maga B'masa, and it's based on a pasuk explained by the Brisa. All the best to you and much, much hatzlacha to you.